Hello beauties, my name is Mina. Welcome to my channel Mina Reads, and today I'm going to be sharing with you 10 books I read recently and if I think that you should read them. So before we jump into the books I've been reading, the thoughts I've been having, I want to say a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Ana Luisa. Ana Luisa is an amazing New York-based sustainable jewelry company and I absolutely love them. I have been wearing their jewelry for over 4 years at this point. I love their jewelry so much, it's not even funny. They are the only jewelry that I wear on a consistent basis and I just absolutely love their designs. If you are a gold jewelry lover, you have to check out Ana Luisa. They also have silver jewelry, but I'm a gold jewelry girly. They have such amazing pieces, especially like really dainty, beautiful, everyday pieces, and I just absolutely love their unique designs. I love their quality. I love the fact that the company is sustainable. They offset their carbon emissions, which is absolutely incredible. I love that you get a 2-year warranty with your purchase. I love that the jewelry is tarnish free. Like I said, I have been wearing and loving their jewelry for over 4 years. I have yet to experience any piece of jewelry tarnish on me or colors change or anything of the sort. I absolutely adore them, and they are currently running their holiday sale. So if you are shopping, doing a little bit of shopping to treat yourself, or you're shopping for a loved one, now is the time to do it. So check them out at the link in my description, and I'm going to show you guys what I got. I got a little something for myself, and I also got a gift for my mom for Christmas. So I got myself a little gift, and that is this necklace right here. I'll kind of move a little bit closer, but this necklace is the Pebble necklace. They also have a Pebble Mini if you'd like a smaller pendant, but I absolutely adore this. I think it's so cute. And I'm layering it with another Ana Luisa necklace. I wear this one all the time. This is the Ina necklace, and I wear it pretty much every day, but I love it so much. And I also got a little stocking stuffer for my mama. So I don't want to take it out of the packaging because I need to wrap it up for her. But I got her this anklet. She really loves ankle jewelry. So I got her this anklet. This is the Finn anklet. And it's so cute. It's just gold. And it's perfect for her. Ana Luisa is currently running their holiday sale for 35% off. So if you're doing any last minute holiday shopping for loved ones in your life, I'm sure Ana Luisa has something perfect for them. So be sure to check them out at the link in my description below if you'd like to get some beautiful, amazing, long-lasting jewelry pieces. So thank you so much to them for sponsoring this video, and let's talk about these books. So I'm going to start us off with one of my most anticipated reads of 2024. And that was Running Close to the Wind by Alexandria Rowland. Now, this book, I was so hyped for this one because I really loved A Taste of Golden Iron by this author last year. And they're both fantasy romances, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to love this. I'm going to be obsessed. I'm going to be standing. I don't know if I can say that that's the case. But it's an interesting book. So let me tell you a little bit about it. This is a story that is set in a fictional foreign country, kind of on the high seas. We have this character named Avra, who is an intelligence agent. He's also just a very weird, strange little guy, and he happens to come across some intelligence that he is hoping that he can sell. So he gets back in contact with his ex, who is a pirate, hoping that they can kind of team up to sell this information. And it's like really important trading information. So it's like very valuable to foreign governments and all this kind of stuff. So it's also very dangerous information for them to be holding. And they're trying to decode the information so that they can sell it. So Avra, his ex Taveri, and also this hot monk named Julian are all kind of teaming up to try to figure out how to decode and monetize this information that they have stolen. It's a very silly book. It's a very silly book. It has like Deadpool humor. If you've watched the Deadpool franchise, like it's very tongue-in-cheek. It's very crude and vulgar and sexual, but silly and fun and funny. But I think that I was hoping for a little bit more of the vibe that I got from A Taste of Golden Iron, which was like, it was more serious, it was more sweet, there was yearning, there was passion, there was intensity, and this book is a lot more silly, fun, and ridiculous. And I don't know, that just wasn't exactly what I was hoping for from the book, but it is fun. I would recommend it if you're looking for something silly, something cute, something to pass the time, but not like the next great like epic romantic-y read in your life. I think you might have fun. Also, I didn't mention, but this is a polyamorous romance, so Avra, the hot monk Julian, and Taveri are all kind of like orbiting each other, and I feel like I wanted a little bit more from their relationship than I got. So I gave this one 3 stars, or like 2.75 stars to be very specific, but I kind of would recommend it to a niche audience if you like very silly, humorous fantasy books. I think you would have fun with it. So then we have Real Life by Brandon Taylor. This book is something that I read for my book club. I'm in a queer book club here in Philly, and we meet once a month. Real Life is a very interesting literary fiction novel. Essentially, this is about a character named Wallace, who is a Black queer grad student in a small town in the Midwest, and he is sort of navigating like a really complicated situation in his like academic career and also in his friendships and in his personal life. His father has recently passed away. He has a lot of conflicting feelings about that because him and his father did not have a good relationship at all, but still, like, you know, he's dead, and that's something that he's grappling with. He's grappling with the fact that he feels like his friends don't really understand him and they don't fully respect him, and he feels a sense of discomfort around them, but also he can't help but continue to kind of reach out into the comforts of that friendship. So there's like a lot of bittersweetness, a lot of desire and longing. There's also some confusion going on because Wallace has been approached sexually by one of his friends who he believed to be straight, and also to be somebody who actually kind of hated him. So he's navigating a really confusing relationship with that guy. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this. It takes place only over the course of a few days, and it's just like a really complicated, nuanced story about a confused young man trying to figure out what he's doing with his life and what is going to make him happy. I didn't love it, but I liked it. I thought it was a really interesting book, and it was definitely one that I thought was great for discussion in my book club. I would recommend it if you like literary fiction and you're looking for your next read. I would recommend it if you're looking for more stories about Black queer protagonists. But yeah, like, it was interesting. I didn't love it. I would give it like a 3.5 star, but it was something. I definitely would read more by Brandon Taylor in the future. I believe this was his debut novel, and I would like to see how he kind of like grows and matures as an author, but there was a lot of interesting stuff here. So next we have The Pairing by Casey McQuiston. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. Absolutely, you need to read it right now. Actually, I really love Casey McQuiston. I know that Casey McQuiston is like one of those really popular authors where all of their releases are super hyped and everyone's reading them, but I feel like a lot of times in the book community there's a lot of discussion about their books being like cringy or whatever. I love Red, White, and Royal Blue. I enjoyed One Last Stop, and I absolutely adored The Pairing. Like, one of my favorite books maybe of all time. I absolutely adore this book. This is a summer novel about 2 exes who end up on this same like food and wine tour throughout Europe and end up going on the tour, reconnecting, and I absolutely love this. One thing about me is that I will always love the second chance romance trope. Do I love it in real life? No. But in fictional world, yes. I will always love a second chance romance. I really enjoyed this novel and the way that it dealt with queerness. The characters are bisexual. The protagonist, Theo, is non-binary. And I feel like the way that the book expressed gender and sexuality and sensuality, it was just so beautiful and amazing. And I loved it so much. And it was a really fun book. It was really silly, but it also felt really deep, and I just absolutely adored like everything about it. And I will always love Casey McQuiston's writing style. I think that their writing style has a really good balance between like humor, levity, and good like dialogue, but also being really poetic and sweet and fun. And I feel like they can just really write these like sweeping, epic, like love declarations and everything like that. So I have always loved Casey McQuiston's work, and this was no exception. I absolutely highly recommend it. 5 stars. More romance here. I have A Little Kissing Between Friends by Chensia Higgins. This is a friends to lovers story. It's about 2 characters named Sin and Juicy, and they are both like best friends. They've been friends for a couple years now, and for whatever reason, recently some, you know, like sexual longing between them is popping up. And so this is about them sort of navigating this whole realization that they like each other as more than friends, and they want more than a platonic relationship between them. And they want more than a platonic relationship between them. This book was so fun and funny and messy, and I really like Chensia Higgins' writing style. I will say, however, that I didn't love their relationship because I think that mess and drama is fun and cool and entertaining, but sometimes it doesn't make for like the best case for a romantic relationship and like the viability of it. And I don't necessarily believe that their relationship felt very viable, because Sin was kind of a menace to society. Very much took Juicy for granted, and I just felt like, I don't know if I love their romantic relationship or if I feel like they're really in love and they would be really good partners. But I did think that this was a very entertaining book, and if you're looking for a spicy sapphic romance, this could be the way to go. I would give this book 3 stars, but I wouldn't necessarily steer you away from reading it. But it wasn't a new favorite for me. I read The Prospects by K.T. Hoffman, and this book is about a young trans man named Gene, and he is on a minor league baseball team, and you know, he has all these career aspirations. He's hoping to get called up eventually to the majors, and this is about him and his, you know, minor league team kind of fighting their way to the playoffs and navigating a tense relationship with a former teammate named Louise, who has recently been added to their team roster. I thought that this was really cute. A little bit forgettable for me, so I would say read it if you are looking for more trans rep in your romances. I would say read it if you're someone who likes sports romances. I think that rooting for their team was kind of, you know, fun and cute and all that good stuff, but a little bit forgettable. I only read it like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I'm already forgetting like half the stuff that happened in the book. But, you know, I mean, it was a time. It was, you know, it was cool. So I would give it like 3.5 stars. Okay, so then I have A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna say that I don't recommend this book. Not because it's a bad book, but I feel like T. Kingfisher has better books that you could be reading instead of reading this one. So if you want to read a T. Kingfisher book, I would say read the Saint of Steel series and don't read this. Like, that's just my opinion. It's not a bad book. I gave it 3 stars, but it's not like super duper worth the time. This is a story about a young girl whose mother is a sorceress, and she is a really evil bitch, pretty much. She's like terrible and abusive emotionally and also physically. Like, she uses her magic to control her daughter and to prevent her from, like, she violates her bodily autonomy with this obedience magic. It's very messed up, and I think that the story could have benefited from being a little bit more messed up, but instead it sort of reads like a typical Regency romance. Like, it's kind of one of those novels where it's like people just going to other people's houses and like having conversation, like, and it just ends up being kind of not interesting and also a little bit too silly for the subject matter, because like I said, her mom is really like evil and crazy, and I think that there's like a sense of darkness to the story, and I think that if we could have kept to the darker tone, it would have been like really, really interesting. But it goes back and forth between being like really dark and creepy and eerie and being kind of silly and whatever, which was not really what I was aiming for, what I was wanting from the book. So I think personally, just me, that you could skip this T. Kingfisher book and read something else in her catalog, because she has so many books, and I just don't feel like this one was like the gag of the century, you know what I'm saying? So read the Saint of Steel series. Okay, so then we have Antibot by Sierra Greer. I would recommend this if you watched that terrible Megan Fox robot movie Subservience on Netflix and you thought this could have been interesting, but it wasn't. You should read Antibot instead. So Antibot is about a AI robot called Antibot, and she has been purchased by her owner to be a sex robot, pretty much, right? But over time, he begins making a lot of modifications to her code because he wants her to be more realistic, and so he is making modifications so that she can kind of talk back to him and they can banter and joke around, and he makes modifications to her body so that it fits the desires that he has. Like, oh, he wants her to have bigger boobs, bigger hips, or he wants her to lose weight, or he wants her to gain weight. He does a lot of different things trying to customize her to make her into the perfect woman. But in so doing, he sort of corrupts some things in her code to the point where she is like thinking fully autonomously and not just running a code like a machine would. And so she starts to have emotions, and she's struggling with the fact that her emotions are making her feel and experience like disgust towards her owner because of the things he does and how confusing he is and all of the like strange things that he is making her do and how in conflict his desires are. Like, I think that it was so much more interesting and so much more nuanced than what we got in like the Subservience movie. And I think that if you're looking for that, like you have an interest in stories that are about robots gaining sentience, I thought that this one was pretty interesting and also like really disturbing and creepy. And I would highly recommend checking this out instead of watching that shitty movie on Netflix. Okay, now here's a book I don't recommend. Mistress of Lies by, who is it by? K.M. Enright. I don't recommend this book. This book could have and should have been a fucking banger, and it was bad. It was not good. So I really don't recommend this book at all. This book is about these three characters named Shan, Samuel, and Isaac. And Shan, she is a part of a aristocratic family in this world, and she has killed her father so that she can take over as the heir to her father's estate and take over his role in politics and all these other kinds of things. So we start off the book really with a bang, like she's killing her dad, all these things. It sounds really interesting. It's like she seems like such a baddie. She's so cool. She has this spy network. I'm like, okay, she's gonna be the icon of the century, and she just wasn't. Like, there's nothing worse to me than a book telling you like, oh my god, this character is so smart, so intelligent, they have the best plans, the smartest, most cunning person in the world, and then they end up being a fucking dumbass. And that's who this character Shan was. She was very, very silly. Like, she was silly and stupid. The plot was very disappointing. The characters were really disappointing. Samuel, the other like deuteragonist in the story, hated him. He was the most boring, plain milquetoast character of all time. Could not stand him. Isaac was a kind of interesting character. He's something called the Royal Blood Worker, and in this world that like blood magic is a thing or whatever, and so Isaac works for the Eternal King, who's like a vampire king. They don't use the term vampire, but he's obviously a vampire, and he works for the Eternal King. And you know, he seems like very secretive. He's got a lot going on that he's not sharing with the class. He was kind of an interesting character, but I did not like the way that all these characters came together, because this was sort of like a poly romance between them. Their relationship was weird. Their interactions were strange. It was not believable that any of them liked each other or that any of them should have been together. The way the plot was playing out, bad. Like, I didn't like anything about this book. The only thing that was even remotely enjoyable was the first chapter where Shan is like killing her father and disposing of his body. That was the only interesting part of the whole book. Yeah, this was an absolute miss for me. This was one of my most anticipated books of the year, and I hated it. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. I'm sure somebody likes it somewhere, but to me, it was hot garbage, actually. The next book on the list is Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. I read this one. I listened to this one on audiobook through my library. Would I recommend it? No. I gave this one 2 stars. Now, hear me out, because I know a lot of people really love this book. I think this book is really beautifully written. Like, it has absolutely gorgeous prose, but I think that for me the novel was a little bit too abstract for it to be anything like super interesting for me. This book is essentially about a woman who is like a marine biologist of some kind. She goes on an expedition with her team, and when she comes back, she sort of comes back wrong. There's just something not right about her, and the story is mostly told from her wife's POV, sort of, you know, discussing how much her wife has changed, how much she is not the way she was before, and sort of like grieving the loss of the relationship they used to have, and also documenting the ways that her wife is changing because of her deep sea expedition. But it's just like very abstract, and there's a sort of like body horror element to it all that I think if the story was less abstract would have been really interesting and really creepy. But because the language is so flowery and so vague most of the time, it like didn't really pack the sort of punch that I was hoping for from it. So for me, it's a 2 star and I wouldn't recommend it. And speaking of wives, the last book I'm going to tell you about is My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing, and I really like this book and I would definitely recommend it. If you're someone that's looking for like a quick and easy thriller to read, it was so engrossing and fascinating and I really loved it. It's about this couple who commit murder together frequently. That's kind of their thing. They call it date night, and they are committing murders, and eventually one of the bodies from one of the murders that they've done has been discovered. And so this is about them trying to navigate and stay under the radar of this investigation that is looking into their spree of serial murdering in their county. It's really interesting, really fun, really quick, really fast paced. I would definitely recommend the audiobook. I thought that it was very well narrated and I liked it. It was, I hate to say it's fun and it's about a murderer, but it was fun. I feel like they were like very interesting, sick people. I love reading about interesting, sick people. So I had a ball. I would recommend it. Like, it was a good time. So if you are looking for kind of like a quick thriller mystery type book to read, I would say check it out if you haven't already. It's a good time. So yeah, those are all the books that I've been reading recently and if I would recommend them. And let me know what you've been reading recently and what you might recommend to me. But yeah, thank you so much to Anna Louisa for sponsoring this video. Do be sure to check them out at the link in my description, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, you guys. Mwah.